What's up, world, man? This your guy, Guitar K, back for another conversation or positive vibrations, whatever you want to call it. Now, look, Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight, great character. Arguably one of the greatest of all time. And one of his most classic lines in that movie was, "Why so serious?" Right? That was a good question. I have a question as well. Why so macho? So many guys walk around with their chests puffed out, bopping, swagging, dripping, and everything so macho, so much bravado. I mean, what is it for? Is it a defense mechanism? Is it something that we're taught in the neighborhood that we got to do to exude toughness and be a tough guy? You got to be so macho. Now, the village people, who were not some of the most macho of men, if you know the group, the village people, and that's not my opinion. I mean, that's what they were. One of their biggest hit songs were The Macho Man, macho man. And a lot of guys walk around with this mask, their characters, they're just people pleasing and approval seeking by being so macho. Every man want to be a pimp. Every man want to be a Mac. Now, and I want to say that this behavior is not necessary. And I don't even know if most guys know that they're doing it. I think that is just something that we're taught to do, and it comes out every now and then, even if we don't even know that we're doing it. Let me give you a quick story. A good friend of mine named Mike. Now, he said he was like one of the youngest of his brothers, and he happened to be the littlest. So his older brothers always picked on him. So he had to act like he was the tough guy. He always had to be Big Mike, even though he was Little Mike. But when he grew up and he went away to college and he wasn't around his brothers picking on him no more, he could just be himself. If anybody ever seen Captain Chesapeake, you grew up in the Baltimore area, Captain Chesapeake. He would always say, "Ahoy, crew members." Be somebody important. Just be yourself. Now, back to Mike. When he went away to college, he could just be himself. He no longer had to put on the bravado and the macho-ness, and he fell into his own. He met his wife. Now, he had been away to school for a while. He met his wife. He went back home. Now, like I said, he hadn't been home for a while, so he hadn't been around his brothers for a while, And instantly when he went back home and got around his brothers, he automatically reverted back to Macho Mike without even knowing it. So the whole time at dinner, he's Macho Mike because his brothers is sitting around. Now, his wife didn't say anything the whole night because, she didn't want to say anything. He seemed to be enjoying himself being Macho Mike, going back and forth with his brothers and everything. But on the way home in the car, his wife looked at him while he was driving and said, "So who the hell was that guy back at dinner? Because I've known you for the last 3 years at college, but I've never met him before." So that just goes to show you that, when we're away from our original environment, we let down the macho-ness and the bravado that we used to have in our neighborhood that we grew up with. We become ourselves. But when we feel like we have to revert back to those certain behaviors and things, it causes us to put that mask back on. Now, all of a sudden, we got to be the pimp. When the girl walked into the room, we got to whistle at her. We got to be part of the crowd and act like we the construction worker and, "Hey, baby," and "Woo, woo, mama," and all the stuff that we don't normally do when we're not around certain people. You know what I'm saying? Soon as a girl walk around, now everybody, they doing their wrestling interest. They doing their Ric Flair, they woo, and they Macho Man Randy Savage. That, "Let me tell you something, you're going to snap into a Slim Jim," and all of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, man, what is up with all the macho-ness and the bravado-ness? The fakeness is what it really is, man. It is okay to just be yourself, man. You don't got to be flexing and swagging and dripping and tipping and all the stuff that you kids do these days, man. You don't got to put on a new outfit just to go to the mailbox. Who you trying to impress, bro? Who you showing off for, man? Just be yourself, man. Just be yourself, man. It's cool to just, be a regular guy. At the end of the day, it's nothing wrong with just being regular. Self-esteem comes from the inside. It's about self. It's not about the people pleasing. It's not about the approval seeking. These accolades that you're getting from the outside is not real. At the end of the day, it's not real. What you think about yourself is the only thing that matters, man. I'm telling you, when you're seeking all this outside approval, as soon as you don't get it, the air comes out of the balloon and you go down to the ground. But when you build up real self-esteem, when every day you show self-discipline and you show self-control, and it's about you just reaching your own goals when nobody looking, when it's just you, when you just proud of what you're doing, man, that is the type of feelings that last, man. I don't know why all these guys walking around talking about they pimps and they max. They walk around like roosters and peacocks with the feathers spread out and all of this. Have you ever noticed how much roosters and peacocks and max and pimps and wrestlers, at the end of the day, what do they look like? What they look like? That's a good question. Clowns. Clowns, man. Which takes me back to the beginning. I was talking about the Joker. A clown, man. Why so macho? Why, man? That is a good question. You need to drop the bravado, man. Drop all this macho-ness. It's not needed. Outside approval is not what's important. It's about what's on the inside. Look, man. Look, outside success is gained from victories that's gained within. Outside success comes from inside success. I'm telling you, man, you need to learn these things. It's not about how much money you got. It's not about how many girls you done hit. It's about none of that. True success comes from inner peace. It comes from self-control. It comes from discipline. It comes from being able to refrain from doing what everybody else is doing. I'm telling you, I know it might sound crazy to the people that's outside. I'm telling you, the scripture is, do not conform to the ways of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, man. It's better to give than to receive. At the end of the day, I'm telling you, you're chasing all this outside validation, you're going to be stuck in a loop and cycle of craziness, man. I'm telling you, you got to learn to be okay with you when nobody's looking. It's all about integrity. Because at the end of the day, don't nobody really care what you do, what you got anyway. The only reason they do care at the end of the day is because they think they can get some of it. They don't really care. That's why when it's gone, they gone. And you know it's true. You know it's true, but at the end of the day, you still like that fake validation. You still like these girls that's just only with you because you got a couple dollars in your pocket. As soon as the dollar's gone, they gone. But it feels so good in the moment. It's that instant gratification. But when you put in that real work and that real love for yourself, then you get people that's really on your team, and that real love lasts, man. Look, man, we're here to encourage each other. We're here to uplift each other. Iron sharpens iron. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 says, encourage one another and build each other up. But in order to do that, you have to be encouraged and you have to build yourself up. Build yourself up. Don't be built up by outside accolades and all this outside validation, man. People pleasing will leave you unpleased all the time. Outside validation will leave you unvalidated from the inside every single time, man. I'm telling you, man. It is crazy how we seek all of these, shiny things of the world. It's really just junk at the end of the day. Earthly treasures will rust away. Store your treasures up in heaven where they can't rust away, where the moths can't eat them. All of this stuff is in the Bible, man. Real smiles come from things that can't be bought or taken away, man. It's about real happiness, real joy. It don't come from things that money can buy. It don't come from quick fixes and quick gratifications and seeking the easy targets and the low-hanging fruit of the world, man. At the end of the day, money is just paper that could be burned up and just thrown away. Build your happiness in things that will last you, man. Memories and things with your family and being of service and things that really give you a sense of passion and purpose, man. I'm telling you, that's where it's really at. Drop the macho guy stuff. Drop the tough guy stuff. Drop the pimp act and the Mac act and all of that stuff like that. Stop walking down to the ring on your Ric Flair woo stuff and all of that. Because at the end of the day, man, all of that's just fake outside validation stuff and all of that anyway. But look, hopefully you got something out of that. But I'm not going to lie. I used to be that guy. I used to go to the gym and work out and just to be hoping to go to the beach and take my shirt off and hopefully some girl will look at me and I feel all good. Like I said, strutting around like a rooster and a peacock. Me and a friend of mine named Montre, before we used to go to the club, we used to get out of the car make sure nobody wasn't looking, drop down by the car door and do some push-ups, take off all shirts, and have on wife beaters standing in the club line thinking we was swole, thinking we was cute. Yeah, so I'm not going to say that I'm innocent of this behavior. I get it. But what I'm saying is, as I got older and mature, I started to realize that true happiness comes from the inside, man. This is your guy, Guitar K. Why so macho? Shed the macho-ness. Shed the bravado, man. Real happiness comes from within. Real self-esteem is about yourself. It's about integrity. When nobody's looking. Ain't nobody looking anyway, unless you got something to offer them. This your guy, Guitar K. Be more shit.